Hello, everyone. Welcome to the next session by me, Nilanjan Datta, or Cat 100 percentiler, and one of the topmost educators on Unacademy for the CAT and the MBA exam segment. So, before we start the session, I would like to request each and every one of you to kindly share the URL of this YouTube video on various platforms, be it a Facebook group, WhatsApp group, where CAT students are preparing for the GDPI, so that everybody is able to attend the live session today. So please take out 1-2 minutes time before we start the session, and please share this YouTube link for the live session with everyone. So this is me on the Unacademy Learning app. So make sure all of you have downloaded the Unacademy Learning app and you're getting updates about all my new courses. So as you can see, I have 26,000 plus followers, over 6 lakh views on my lessons. So watch all my lessons. You can even download the slides and watch offline. Make sure searching for me with my name, Nilanjan Datta, on the Unacademy Learning app to get access to all my videos and lessons. So today's session is on how do you structure key personal interview answers. And this session is brought to you by me, Nilanjan Datta, a CAT 100 percentiler. So as I said, please share this YouTube link with all your friends and fellow aspirants. So also for this today's session, we have the live chat feature wherein you can ask all your queries and get them answered. So this is a bit about me, the highlight being obviously that I am a Cat 100% Tyler, and in today's session I'll be guiding you on what exactly you need to do to be able to structure your personal interview answers in such a fashion that your chances of converting your top B school call increases drastically. So before I start, I wanted to inform all of you about the Unacademy CAT subscription, which is basically a must-have CAT Pass subscription for every one of you, because that gives you unlimited access to plus courses, that is live classes by all top educators on Unacademy for a CAT segment. So please make sure that each and every one of you, for yourselves as well as for your friends, as well as for everybody you know who's preparing for CAT 2019, inform them about subscribing to Unacademy Plus. Also, this is the current course that I'm running on DILR. We just got started with the first session last night, but that was the intro session. The topic-wise sessions start on Monday 11. So make sure that everybody who's preparing for CAT 2019 is enrolling before Monday 11th. That is Monday 11th. That in 2 days' time, you must enroll. That preferably by tonight itself, you enroll so you can attend the classes live. All the classes will be conducted by me, Nilanjan Datta, Cat 100% Tyler. I'm a DILR 100% Tyler as well. Also note that if you're part of the CAT subscription for a 1-year period, then after DILR, when I start with the quants live classes as well, you'll get access to it. So this CAT subscription will be treated like an annual pass. So this is the URL where you can go and subscribe to the CAT Pass. That is unacademy.com/plus/goal/xndus. So this is the 1-year subscription that is available for rupees 30,000 for the entire year. But this one pass will help you cover each and every course in each and every discipline. So what we've done is we've changed the model from last year when we had my DILR course at 8K, my quants course at another 8,000, my workshop-based courses at another 8,000, and you had courses like decision making and so on at 4.5 thousand and so on. So if you add all of this, it would come out to be around 28 to 30K approx. But that is only access to my courses would cost that amount. This time it's basically access to not only all my courses but all access of all courses by all top educators, which includes fellow 100% Tylers as well, fellow top bestsellers as well. So now, given that the CAT subscription model is coming into place, it's very important that all of you enroll for this 1-year subscription, because given that CAT is around 9 months away, 9 to 10 months away, after that you'll be looking at things like that as well as GDPI and so on. So in this subscription, all your courses will get covered. So basically, the subscription works in this principle that courses for all CAT exams will run throughout the year, and you will be a part of each and every one of them once you subscribe for the 1-year subscription. Also, a lot of you keep asking for discounts, so this is why I have the discount code for you guys as well. That is, type in Nilanjan Datta. There's no space within Nilanjan and Datta that you type in to avail further discounts on this amount. So as you can see, this is a much more student-friendly policy where you get one-time pay and you get access to not just mine but all top educators, live classes, whichever one you want to mix and match and watch, that is absolutely at your discretion. But make sure all of you are enrolling before the next class, Monday 11th for DILR, because that is when we start with the topic-based classes for the complete course on DILR. So before Monday 11th, it's expected all of you would have enrolled for a CAT subscription. And do not forget to use the discount code as well. Now we'll get started with a few of the key questions and answers that you need to be prepared for as part of your MBA interviews and your B school interviews and personal interviews and elsewhere and so on. And the most important one of them is why MBA. So let's look at a few key pointers that you need to keep in mind in structuring your why MBA answer. So, how do you justify the why MBA question? The first thing that you need to understand is what is the importance of the why MBA question. Why? This is the single most important question around which the entire interview surrounds. The reason is you've got to understand the psychology behind it. They've already taken a written test where most of you have cleared with a good percentile. If your written exam is done, there's a tick mark already against it. But what I want to know is the written exam says that you're good at cracking the exam. It doesn't say anything about how justified your reasons for doing an MBA is. And given the recent trends where engineering and MBA is considered more of a trend rather than something which you really want to do, that is why it's very important that somebody introspects on why MBA. The panel wants to understand this, that whether it's just that at the end of your final year decided that no, everybody's preparing for CAT, so is that the reason why you start preparing for CAT? Or is it something like this, that you have a genuine idea about where you want to be eventually, what you want to do, and how an MBA will help you get there. The basic idea is they do not want people for whom getting admission to the top B school is the end goal. They want people for whom getting into the top B school is not the end goal, but only a medium which will help them get closer towards their end goals. So basically, it's not about getting into an MBA program, but it's about knowing how the MBA program will help you going forward. The next thing is the MBA bridge concept. That is, what have you done in the past? What are the skill sets you've acquired from the past, and how you believe an MBA will help you bridge the gap between your past and what your short-term and long-term goals is. This is where it gets so very important, because what I've seen over the last few years is a lot of aspirants absolutely want to bypass their past they're not interested in, and they want to start afresh like a clean slate. Please understand, the very purpose of an MBA program gets lost if you're having such thoughts where you want to shun away your past and start afresh. An MBA is not meant for that, especially if that is the reason why they're giving so much importance to your past accolades, to your work ex, and so on. They want people for whom the short term and the long term goals are a little bit clear, and they value what they've done in the past and how that will help them move forward. So that would rather imply that the genuineness of the person's keeping rational desires is more in place. Please understand, even when you're framing your short-term, long-term goals, they have to be at least rational in nature and somewhat connected to your past. At least you have an understanding about how to move from the past to what you're wanting to do. It cannot be just a wannabe thing. It cannot be a situation where it's got absolutely nothing with what you've done in the past and it is absolutely new and different. Because remember, even if your thing is new and different, you've got to show some kind of an inclination which shows that you've been following about it in the few years. It cannot be a situation where you have no idea whatsoever and you believe that getting into an MBA program, you will start off as a clean slate. That can never really work. The next very important thing is the ability to transition into roles that justify your potential. Note, again, this is very important, and the reason is because I often hear a lot of people talk about investment banking. But the problem with investment banking is not that it's not a good sector, it's an excellent sector, but the problem is only maybe the top 2% of the batch, that too, and only maybe the ABCs or maybe a couple of other people, one or two people might be making it to investment banks. I'm not saying you cannot be the one who will make it, but at least if you believe you're in the top 1-2%, at least you should be knowing quite a bit about finance. It shouldn't be like this, that you have absolutely no clue about finance, you have no clue about what is going on in the economic world, no clue about current affairs in this sector, no clue about the stock market, no clue about trading whatsoever, and you're saying you want to get into investment banking. So in that case, there is a big problem. Your CV reflects nothing about it. You do not know anything much about it. There's no way, if you ask questions on finance, you have no clue about it. In that case, it becomes really, really difficult for you to justify that you want to get into investment banking. It's obvious for the interviewer that you won't make it. So at least if you're saying that you want to transition to roles, you should be knowing about a how part, about why, fact that you're interested in or not, and you should be able to speak about it considerably. Which is why the most important thing in understanding roles is going through LinkedIn. Why LinkedIn? Because what LinkedIn does is it will actually give you an option of exploring people who are studied in a particular B school and are working in a particular firm, in a particular segment. And if you go through their LinkedIn profiles, you'll automatically get an idea about the kind of work that they do. So always make sure that you're able to justify the roles that you want to transition into and how you would go about being able to do that. It shouldn't just be a case of you blindly saying things where you have no idea whatsoever. The next thing, the ability to take greater decision-making power in any organization. So the most important reason for doing an MBA is that you'll be given more greater decision-making power. So what do I mean by greater decision-making power? The easiest example of greater decision-making power is this. Today, if you come up with a really, really good idea, then the first thing that somebody will tell you is, no, that is not your responsibility. Your responsibility is not to give strategic ideas. Your responsibility is to primarily just do your part, maybe developing an application or supervising a manufacturing capacity and so on. The moment you want to come up with better optimization ideas, somebody will tell you you're not qualified enough to do that or may not pay much weightage to your idea. And that can be a bit of a turn-off compared to if you're doing your MBA and then going back to a similar organization, automatically everybody will be looking up to you for decision making. So everybody will be looking up to you for decision making, and that feeling of taking decisions, the feeling of having decision making power is the best thing about being in doing an MBA. So everybody was looking up to you for decision making. The next thing, entrepreneurship dreams. So over the last few years, I've seen a lot of people talk about why MBA, and the reason being the long-term goal is entrepreneurship. Incidentally, being saying that your long-term goal is entrepreneurship is a very, very good thing to do, because if you can justify that you're serious about entrepreneurship, then automatically 90% chance that you're done with your conversion, given other factors remaining constant. But the problem here is most people are not able to successfully convince the panel that entrepreneurship is the thing they are serious about. Then that is where the major problem happens. Note, if you are not able to justify your entrepreneurship thing, then the entire everything else that is speaking in your personal interview again starts falling flat. I'll give you a couple of examples. A lot of people talk about entrepreneurship, but when I ask them, name me some MBAs with entrepreneurs, they absolutely go mum, because they have no idea about how an MBA is in entrepreneurship. You ask them basic questions like, why not start right now? Why delay an idea so much? They will still not have any answer, and that is where this entrepreneurship point for your MBA breaks down. So it's perfectly fine to talk about entrepreneurship, but in that case, you must have some idea about how entrepreneurship is related to MBA. Similarly, if you're talking about family business, then you should be knowing about the challenges that your family business is facing, and how you believe after an MBA with the requisite knowledge and so on, you'll be able to come back and contribute drastically to help your family business scale up. So again, this has to be a much more calculated decision that you are taking. It's not just about writing an answer that you copied from somewhere and passing it on as your own. That is not the way it works. Obviously, the other reason, which is a very important reason, is the fact that this is a networking opportunity with not just your top B school, but given that you have summer internship program and the final place with all the other top B schools as well, it will be an excellent networking exercise to build your network, which will really, really help you in whatever you do eventually, be it whether you're scaling up in the corporate sector or starting something on your own, or even your family business. Learning wise is definitely something again very important, that this will give you an opportunity to understand the video aspect of business, given that the first year of the MBA program is kind of common, where they look at every single domain in bits and pieces. The other important thing is placements. Placements, please understand this, that placements is really, really important. So, but then as you can see, this is probably one of the last factors you can mention, but you can definitely mention placements, because at the end of the day, if you're saying your short-term and long-term goal are to get into certain industrial corporate, that means placements matter. Yes, placements matter. It's not the CTC, average CTC alone that matters. It is the placement will also imply the brand you get into, the role you get into, and so on. So any questions? Before we move on, a gentle reminder to everybody that the Unacademy Plus CAT subscription is available now. Unlimited access to not just my live classes, but live classes by all top educators on Unacademy for the CAT segment. It's all available in a single CAT pass. So all you have to do is go to this link on unacademy.com/plus, select your goal as CAT. This is the link for that goal. Select your goal as CAT, and then you can subscribe for it. Note, my next class on DILR is when I start with a topic-based session as part of the complete course. So that is on Monday, Feb 11th. So make sure you're enrolling before that. As you all know, I am a CAT and a DILR 100% Tyler. Just after we're done with the DILR live classes, I'm starting with quants live classes and so on. So once you subscribe to the yearly CAT subscription, one-time payment of 30,000 rupees, automatically get access to all my courses, DILR to start with, quants to follow up, and so on. Remember, courses for all CAT exams will be running throughout the year. This is your discount code here. That is Nilanjan Datta. So you can type this in to get in further discounts on top of the amounts given here. So that would really help you get a very good deal. So any confusions on a CAT subscription model? I'll just wait for a minute or so in case anybody has any confusions. The next important question, this is something that everybody talks about, is MBA and entrepreneurs. This is what it looks like. Given that most people talk of being an MBA for the corporate sector, talking about entrepreneurship, automatically your chances of conversion become increasing. But at the same time, you need to be able to justify why you are that one person who believes in entrepreneurship, given that only from a historical perspective, only 3% of the alumni of the top B schools eventually venture into entrepreneurship. So what is it in you that makes you believe that MBA will help you in entrepreneurship? So here are some key pointers that you can talk about in this regard. The first thing is, if you're going into entrepreneurship, the biggest challenge you face is, it is in your startup, you've got to look across various verticals. For example, the pricing part, the revenue part, the branding part, the publicity part, day-to-day operations part, getting the right resources, getting the right team in place, getting the right work culture in place. So all these are severe challenges that every entrepreneur faces in his or her startup. Remember, when you're actually starting up, it's no more about one particular vertical that you're looking at. It's about a complete organization you're expected to look at as a CEO of a startup. And that is where an MBA program helps. The first year of an MBA program is always a generic one which gives you an insights into each of these domains. The next important thing is that an MBA from a top B school will give you a group of people who are really like-minded and are intelligent and creative mind. And always remember, if you're looking to come up with that kind of an idea, which is one in a million, which is what makes a successful entrepreneur, then your idea has to be really good. And to brainstorm such ideas, to fine-tune such ideas, you need the association of intelligent and creative minds. And that is exactly something that your B school will be able to provide, not just in your batch, but also your senior and your junior batch, and also maybe in the network you form with a similar peer B schools. So again, always remember, ideas are all the more strengthened if you have the intelligent, creative minds to discuss them with. The next most important thing in the success of any startup is getting a co-founding team in place. And that too, a co-founding team which comprises of like-minded people. The co-founding team which comprises of like-minded people, that is very, very essential. The next challenge that entrepreneurs face is the scalability and the credibility part of their product. So for example, let's say you've got a startup idea and you want to hire some of the top employees to work with your startups. Why would they want to leave their job and be a part of your startup, which is on the risky side? Unless, of course, they believe that your startup can possibly come out to be successful or big. And that is where credibility matters. A B school brand always adds credibility to your startup or your credentials. The same thing comes out of scalability as well, because remember, one of the biggest challenge people face is when you scale the startup, they automatically need this line, which is called funding. And funding, the source is angel investors, but the question is, why will angel investors invest in your idea? Well, for that, you need to ensure two things. The first thing that you need to ensure is that the idea is really good, which is where a co-founding team is important. Your ability to brainstorm with intelligent, creative minds is important, but then there is a second aspect to it. What is that? How do you get the adequate funding? And for that, what they'll be looking for is the credibility part. For example, if there's a good idea and there is a co-founding team which has a lot of credible profiles, be it in terms of B school, be it in terms of graduation colleges, be it in terms of work experience and so on, then automatically the belief or the trust that they'll have on the startup being more successful is higher compared to a similar idea from a team which is where the co-founding team is less credible. And given that angel investors are investing the money in this, they would really want to go for credible people. And that is one of the strong reasons why we hear so much about IIM co-founders getting glorified. The primary reason is because those brands or those tags really help as far as the credibility thing goes with angel investors and so on. The next thing is the networking, contacts, and strategic tie-ups. In my last slide, I was talking about only 3% going on to become entrepreneurs. What about the rest? 97%. 10 years from now, these 97% will be in leadership positions in various companies 10-15 years from now. You are an entrepreneur who will be struggling for tie-ups, struggling for contacts, struggling for the first orders and sales. And that is when this 97% who will be in key leadership positions in various organizations will help you generate the first sales. For example, let's say you want to tap an MNC and you know somebody who is in a VP or the leadership positions in that MNC, it becomes so much more easier for you to get those initial orders for your startup. And the moment you do that, the moment you get initial orders, the moment you start delivering, that is when all the other factors like the angel investor and all will come in more interested in your idea, because they'll see that you have potential clients to who you want to deliver your solution to. And this strategic tie-ups is very important. Also, with networking in place, with contacts, people cross-promoting your startup, that will increase drastically, which is again very important. Also, you can get continuous feedback and ideas on how to improve on certain features to make it more appealing for the customer audience, all of which are very important. Remember, a startup evolves over time. Note, a lot of you have this notion that you work for a few years of entrepreneurship. Please understand there is nothing wrong in it. Why? Because given that an MBA program involves a 20 lakh expenditure, it is perfectly fine to work for a few years. That will not only help you clear all your loans, because the moment you clear all your loans, then you can invest completely in your startup or in your entrepreneurship. That is very important. Once you go into entrepreneurship, you must be prepared for the first 3 years of investments without any returns. If returns come, well and good. Even if they do not come, be prepared for the same. The other part here on MBA helping in entrepreneurship and working for a few years is that if you work for a few years in a corporate sector, in a similar kind of a firm in compared to a startup industry that you want to make in, you get a lot more contacts in place, a lot more clients, understanding about how to tap clients in place, and a lot more idea about how to run a business even better, how the different verticals within an organization integrate better. So any questions on how does MBA help in entrepreneurship? The next thing is key pointers on how to write an SOP or statement of purpose. Statement of purpose is also helping you answer your why MBA, but in addition to that, it's also stressing upon your short-term, long-term goals, and more importantly, as to how the B school will help you achieve it. So you need to be able to talk a couple of lines, how the given program in the given B school you're applying to, how that will help you achieve what are your goals, your passions, and your strengths. Remember, SOP is about what are the strengths and passions, skills and values that you've acquired during your UG, during your work X, and how you want to work in that along with your strengths and passion to help converge at your goals. Remember, the entire process is a converging process where your ultimate aim is to reach your short-term and your long-term goals. Now, You've got to understand that certain skills and values you acquired earlier, but there are some other skills and values that an MBA will help add on to you. And one of the important things I want to talk about here is a lot of you mentioned things like, I do not have leadership skills. Please do not say that. Leadership skills are something you're expected to have. Managerial skills are both expected to have even before MBA. Yes, if you say that you don't have a knowledge about maybe a particular domain of finance in depth or in details about various marketing strategies, that is acceptable. But saying you don't have leadership skills and that is why you're going to a B school is not justified. Leadership skills and so on are skills which are things which you have to develop right through your UG, WorkX, and so on. Through your school days, it comes out eventually. The most important thing, as you can understand, is this thing, the past skills and values, and what an MBA will add on, they must converge towards what your point one is. That is, what are your strengths, your passions, and the goals. There must be a clear-cut convergence seen in the process. Note, along with the convergence comes another fact. Why are you applying to the given B school program? So that is where it's important you understand how the given program you're applying to, how XYZ B school, what about it really excites you and it makes you believe that it will help you converge your past skills and values with the MBA program to converge at your passion and goals. Now, this is what you write for a SOP which is 60 to 100 words. But the problem is, what if the SOPs are much longer, like 300 words, 400 words, 600, even more than that? For long SOPs, it's very obvious. You need to give detailed examples from your past. So in that case, you need to give an examples of something about a child that you want to talk about, of something you're really passionate about. Talk about that in a paragraph or more details. Talk about a couple of your strengths in more details, about things you've learned from them which makes you believe that it'll add on to the skills that you're picking up during your MBA program and your life thereafter. You can also talk about extracurricular activities, but a lot of the extracurricular activities really help you in learning, and that actually is an exposure you get into team building activity. It could be through sports, it could be through various other competitions, it could be through other things that you do, like acting, like the dancing, where you're going to go as a group, perform as a group, and so on. If you are into a band, then that as well. So how you cement the team together. So all of that comes in as well. So in case of long SOP, make sure you're keeping a lot more detail. In case you worked, you mention at least one or two examples from your work experience where you've handled critical situations. But all that is only if it is a long SOP. In case of short SOP, just touch upon these points, but do not forget to talk about your B school as well and how the given program will help you, and make sure that you're talking about things that are related to that. Gentle reminder on the Unacademy Plus CAT subscription, where you have unlimited access to all the live classes by the various top educators. So yesterday night I started with my DILR live class, the intro class. The proper topic-based classes on DILR start on Feb 11th, that is this Monday. So make sure by this weekend all of you have enrolled for the CAT Plus subscription to be part of my DILR live classes. As you might be aware of, DILR live classes seen tremendous transformation in a lot of people, moving on to as low as 80s, 70s percentiles to 90s, 99s, and even 99.9 plus percentile. So make sure you can be one of them in CAT 2019 by trying to improve yourself via this course. This course will definitely give you tips and tricks and ways of solving sets a lot more faster, which will help you definitely improve on your DILR. And if you take it seriously, you can really improve on your percentiles as well. With the CAT subscription model, it's obviously very wise to go for a 1-year pass, given that a 1-year pass will cover not just your CAT, but your VAT, your GDPI, and all the other exams. Remember, courses for all CAT exams run throughout the year. So now it's a one pass. It'll give you access to all my courses, DILR, Quants, GDPI, decision making, workshops, everything as part of just one course, strategy courses, everything in just one pass. Also, there's a discount code that each of you can use to avail discounts on the 1-year subscription. So make sure you're tuning in this as the referral discount code to further get discounts for yourself. Any questions thus far? So I believe there are no questions, so I'll move forward. There's one important thing. A lot of you majority of you are from technology backgrounds and keep asking me, but how to link your IT experience to MBA. And this is where this slide will come in so very handy on how to link your IT experience to MBA. Note, these are the things in which you can transition into, your roles you can transition into post MBA if you have a couple of years or even a little more of IT experience. Make sure you're not belittling your existing work profile, whichever industry you're working in. And you have an idea about how you transition into related roles. For example, if you have IT experience, you can easily move into consulting, IT or SNO consulting, into business development roles, into product manager roles at startups. And you need to always have a detailed understanding of work MBAs do, which is where the LinkedIn path becomes so very useful. Similarly, for other industries as well, in case you have a dream industry in mind, especially which is possible with less than 2 years experience, you can easily move into other domains compared to with greater than 2 years experience, greater than 3 years especially, it becomes a little difficult to move into absolutely unrelated domains. But again, then that is possible in case you're really inclined to the particular thing, and if you can customize your CV a little bit according to that. So these are the key questions. Some of the other questions that are asked, I'll just take a couple of them maybe. The first one is strengths and weaknesses. So strengths, make sure to talk about few strengths of yours and make sure if you're mentioning 3 of them, at least 2 of them are relevant skills for an MBA and 1 could be at a personal level. So 1 can be personal, the other 2 are very relevant skills which are also relevant for your MBA, and the three of them are also areas on which you would want the interviewer to ask you a lot of questions. The next thing comes weaknesses. I don't know why, but I feel a lot of aspirants every year crib about weaknesses and so on. Please understand, the entire form, the entire everything is about glorifying you. So please do not feel too bothered about writing about your weaknesses. Because that is the only maybe 2% of the form we're writing negative things about you. Focus more on the 98%. You're writing positive things. Please write genuine weaknesses. If you're thinking by writing fake weaknesses, you're being able to outsmart the interviewer, you're absolutely wrong. You cannot outsmart an interviewer, so it's better to write genuine weaknesses. But at the same time, only one thing I need to do is, if you have 4 genuine weaknesses, out of which you feel 2 of them are not relevant for an MBA program, make sure you're writing those 2 which are not, like 2 and 4 is not relevant MBA program. Make sure you write those 2 weaknesses. Why? Because that is not undermining your candidature as an MBA aspirant. As an MBA is not harming your candidature, at the same time, you're being honest and genuine about a weakness, which will always work good for you. So make sure that is the strategy you employ in weakness, but keep your weakness something that's genuine about you. Do not try to fake it. Do not try to mold it as your strengths, and so on. The next thing is questions on challenging situations that you've overcame and so on. Make sure you're not talking about unethical things. Same thing, in case they ask you any question about an ethical dilemma question, what would you do in such a case? Make sure you're not going with the unethical route. At the same time, make sure you're going with the practical option as well. Anything which is not unethical and practical is what is your final thing that you need to talk about. It need not be the most ethical approach. No, that is not required, but it should definitely not be an unethical approach. It should be practical, feasible, yet not unethical. That doesn't mean giving up on practical approaches just for the sake of ethics. That is meaningless. Practicality is more important than ethics, but make sure it is not unethical anything. So any questions, anybody? Any other questions that you have in mind? If they're asking for an example of a situation where you faced a big challenge and you came out of it, talk of something which is preferably from your extracurriculars, where you made the awesome teamwork activity from your work ex, where you overcame a difficult situation, and how you were the key person who came up with the idea on how to overcome the challenge. Please be prepared with honest answers on your hobby extracurriculars. Remember, you're speaking about your hobby extracurriculars, your chance of impressing the interviewer with that, as well as position of responsibility, as well as position of influence, where you've shown leadership skills, it's much more higher chance of conversion than anything else. So this is the final CAT Plus subscription, which is available to all of you, a complete access to all the courses, by all the Plus courses, by all the top educators on Unacademy and on Plus. Note, my DLR live classes, which is one of the big key highlights of the Plus subscription, is starting started on Feb 9, that is yesterday night. That's the info class. The proper topic-based classes are starting on Feb 11. So make sure that all of you are enrolling before the Feb 11 class. As you know, I'm a cat as well as the DLR 100 percentiler. This is a place where you can go and enroll for it. There's a cat subscription where you select your goal as cat, and then you have 3 options. Always go for the 1-year cat subscription. There's a discount code you can use. Nilanjan and my name, can use a discount code to get additional discounts on your cat subscription. On that note, thank you everybody and happy learning.